Welcome to the PT Legends podcast, where co-host Dave Bess and myself, Scott Carpenter, share our journey and secrets of success. From our humble beginnings as personal training employees of a big box gym to struggling studio owners that have made every mistake in the book, to where we are now, the owners of a multi-seven-figure business operating multiple personal training studios internationally, and now coach and mentor to fitness professionals in 5 countries and counting. This is our story, and these are our secrets. Subscribe to our podcast, learn, take action, and build your own fitness empire. All right. Yes, we are live on Facebook. We are live, which is always exciting. And especially because right now we've got a super special guest on. Shannon Logan with TrueCore, and she has just exciting news because we're here we're at the beginning of October, just finished September, which was Shannon's 3rd month in working with us. July, then August, and then September, and we were just talking about it earlier, and you hit an amazing milestone.
Yeah, so we've our September revenue was past our previous best by over 40%. So if I was to take my top all gross revenue of all time, take 40% of that and add it on, that's what we hit in September.
That is, and this is your all time since you started in business.
All times in 6.5, almost 7 years. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It was mind blowing, to say the least. And like that didn't come from like 50 new people, which is what I love about it. You know, it came from I think we got 7 new people total. It's wow. 7 or 8, and then the clients that are currently in the programming deciding to stay on as well for the next 9 weeks as well.
Yeah.
So it's been incredible.
Yeah, because your July was amazing. Your August was great. And then in September, because you're doing 9-week transformation programs. So the original people that you had to sign up, not all of them, because you signed up some of them partway through it, but some of your original ones finished with their 9 weeks and continued and renewed, and that just stacked and blew it up.
Exactly. And now we're starting to see that too. So it's not just what I'm really loving to hear is it's not just like the new people coming in that can see this, that are like, oh my gosh, I need that. It is now the people that are getting done that we signed up, 9 weeks prior. We sit down with them halfway through, about 6 weeks in, we sit down, we have a conversation, like, how are things? What have we seen? That they want to continue. They don't want to stop, right? And that was a fear that I say, like, I had when I came in, and my staff had when we came in terms of like, all right, this sounds great. Ideas are on par. It's what we want to be a part of. But like from a price standpoint, how long will people actually do this, right? Yeah. Like they're going to drop off. And we have a couple ways that we make it financially affordable for people long term. But what I'm seeing is that as we're having people get halfway through, get 6 weeks in, 2/3 of the way through, they're wanting to keep going. Right? They're just as excited. They're actually more excited in those conversations than they were when they first signed up with us, which lets me know like we're doing something right. Like this is working.
Yeah. And to give you credit, like you've locked up every single step in what we do. Like you learned to sell it very, very quickly, right? But your fulfillment was amazing too. Like you've been executing on the fulfillment system like crazy, like just perfectly. And then also we talked about this morning, the way you've executed on the renewals at week 6, you're doing it exactly how it's supposed to be done. And so far you've had a 100% renewal rate on every single person that you've had the conversation with, which is pretty nuts. And that's just amazing. And so like, and then we looked at it because you're like, wow, I hit this blew away all-time record, But then immediately you're like, hey, how do we just maintain this? And then we looked at all the
Right.
numbers, and we looked at, even if you start closing worse, even if your leads went downhill, even if you didn't have that amazing renewal record, and even if you had churn on top of that just from people falling off, you still have a lot of room to grow, even if you're performing way worse than you did in the last 3 months. Like, a lot of room
Right.
to grow.
Right. Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
It's insane. It's insane because I talked to Dave about this a couple of weeks ago. I have a idea where I want my business to be in like 3 years, right? And it's that way because I want to be able to provide for my family, so my husband and I can both follow our passion. We have a new baby. She's 8 months old, so like we want to be able to show her that she can live her dreams and that it's possible. And Dave and I were talking. He's like, "Well, why 3 years? Like, I think you can do that in 6 to 12 months." I was like, "Oh, okay, dude, sure." But like, as we start stacking things on top of each other, as this becomes our new norm, I can see how that is for sure possible. So now I've moved that timeline up, probably somewhere unrealistic. But I like to do that because then I'm chasing the stars, or if I shoot for the moon, I'll land in the stars. I think it's the same. But my staff has done a really great job too. So one of the things that we run into in the past is that I've got fantastic staff. We've had all the pieces to do this, but they were not combined into one fluid system. My coaches are great coaches, but they as people have struggled with, how do I get more PT clients? How do I do that? And we have been working on that since I would say last November. So now it's October, so almost a full year of trying to amp up our PT. And I've worked with them and I've mentored them and we've done things, and that has grown. But it's really hard to do that on top of a group class model with what we were working with before PT Legends. Mm-hmm. And so now it's like, 48% of our monthly income now is off of personal training, and that happened in the last 3 months. And so we had the aspect of like, we have nutrition, we have personal training, we have some aspects of mindset, but they were all kind of disgruntled and they weren't linked up. And I'd come up with packages to link them all up, but we didn't have the great tools to sell them. And what I mean by that is I've done a ton of sales training. I do the majority of the sales at our gym right now still. And I've done workshops and I've done calls and I've done a lot of sales training. I've been in the industry for 15 years, so I've gotten some time under my belt with it. But by working with you guys in the sales processes that we've been taught and drilled on and practiced and the scripts and all of that stuff, it was like it finally clicked. Like everything from the last 15 years made sense and it's helped me in the sales, but there was like a missing piece of it. And now I've understood, been taught, walked through and practiced what that missing piece was. And now like we have a close rate. I think I told you, Scott, this morning, like we're shooting like 75%, right, of new leads coming in with this kind of a package. That's pretty impressive.
That's super impressive, because it's one thing if you're selling $150 or $200 a month membership, big deal,
right?
Or even maybe like $600 a month PT or something like that. But it's a whole different thing when you're charging. And when you're charging the rates that you are now?
Yeah.
And what are your current rates that you have for your 9-week programs?
We do 7,000 executive, 4,000 accelerator, and 2,500 transformation.
That's awesome.
And I haven't sold a transformation yet. It's all been accelerators or executives.
That's wild. That's wild. I didn't even realize that until when we were talking, was it like last week or something?
Yeah.
I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I think this brings up a really huge point. And this, out of all the gym owners that we've worked with, and it goes back to yesterday's call when we were really talking about what are you guys selling, right?
Yeah.
And I think you had that light bulb moment, and you had crappy Wi-Fi or something yesterday. So when I called you out, we couldn't understand what you were saying, but you put it in the comment box. And for anyone listening, what are you selling? Because I think this is so huge. And this is why 75% of people are buying a $3,500 product. What are you selling? I think that's so important. Yell it from a mountain. What are you selling?
We believe in our clients until they can believe in themselves. So I'm 35, and some people might say that's young, and some people might say, damn, you're old. But in my 35 years, I've had some pain. You know, I've had some dark times in my life. I've had some stuff that I've walked through. And no one likes to talk about that when it's happening, right? Like, we don't like to let people know that we're struggling. The bottom line is everyone is struggling at some point. Everyone has dark times. Everyone has stuff that they're ashamed of or don't want to share, or those kind of things. Every single person is looking for a way out of that stuff. And I had an experience that helped me get out of that. And I'm going to do so much talking about it. And as a result, I really feel like my purpose on this earth is to help people out of theirs. And I've been involved in this world for long enough to know that is possible through fitness. It can't really do it on its own, but it can be the match to start it, right? So by combining fitness with mindset, and you have to have nutrition in there because it all just blends in. You can't do two and then not have the space of the triangle. But like, that's what happens to these people. Like, it gives them the way out of wherever they've been stuck in. Like, I've worked now with people in the last 3 months that have been stuck for over 10 years. Some people, their entire life, they felt this way. And they've been carrying it around with them since they were in like grade school. And you can say, like, I can help you. I will guide you. I will walk alongside of you out of that.
That is awesome.
You have to rewind that for anyone listening to this live, or if like that right there, listen to that over and over and over and make it into your own. And that's your transformational product right there. And that's why people buy it, because we live in this world that people need change. And like you had your light bulb moment, and like you said, you have goosebumps. And I guarantee you have goosebumps with every single person that you talk with, because you know they're hurting. And that's what gets me so jacked up, like having these conversations with leaders like you. Scott, we talked before the call, like, hey, let's talk about, her numbers, which is so exciting. But to me, this is the exciting part. Like, she's identified she could make a real impact on the world. And she's doing that with every single person that she talks with. And that's incredible.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I love it. Right.
That's the coolest thing about it.
I love it.
You've been in the industry for like 15 years. You've been a business owner for many, many years. You've had ups, you've had down, by all means, your place was good. Like, you're definitely an above average gym, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That does large group model. Previously, are you still affiliated with CrossFit or?
We are. Yeah.
Yeah. Thought so. That, and then you also did some PT, a little bit of PT and a little bit of nutrition. And, after a while, that just becomes a little mundane sometimes, right? You get X amount of people that'll make big changes, and other people that just show up, right? It's about leads, and it's about sales. How many did you get? And then it gets a little boring. But since you just unlocked your leadership skills on a whole nother level, where now you are creating a movement. Like, what jacks me up the most is when you message people in the WhatsApp group and you talk about that. Like, that's awesome. Now you're really, truly changing and affecting lives, how we all want to, but it's just, how do we even do it? Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can be scary, taking the leap, which is what it is, to start something like this. Like, I remember, I didn't tell you guys this, but I remember back in July, I think I made my first like 2, maybe 3 sales. So like, I was jazzed up and it was good and stuff. And then I think one of them backed out or something. And then the next intro I had, I didn't close. And I remember thinking, like, crap, like, what if this I'm wrong and this does not work, and like, I just screwed everything up and blah 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 blah. And I'll just go back to what I did before. Like, I'll just revert back and do the same thing that I have been doing for the past 6 years. And then I thought there for a second. I was like, well, these people come in and they scoff at your prices already. Like, expensive is expensive. And this is something you talked about, Scott, too, is like you get to a point where like expensive is just expensive. And they were comparing us to every other gym because we sounded like every other gym in some regard. Like, we talk about the whole picture and we have this to offer you and we have that to offer you and we have this to offer you. And you want to lose weight and that's your problem, and you can attend 6 classes a week and that'll get your weight loss goal. But like, we weren't really down deep. And I thought to myself, well, like, all right, I have the leads coming in. They're going to come in and I can pitch this or I can pitch that. But like, I'm not going to get anywhere further with what I've been doing. So like, the worst that can happen is they can say no, and I'll just downsell them to what we do now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, just like, hold out, like, try it, like, hang in there. Like, this is just you being scared because it's new and you've never done this before. And so I told my head to shut up, and I just kept coming to the calls and practicing and everything like that. And it clicked, it clicked.
Yeah. It clicked fast for you. But you also came on a lot of our calls, right? That's why we had those Zoom calls 5 days a week.
I've been kind of immersed. I've kind of immersed myself in it, which has been helpful. Extremely, extremely, extremely helpful.
Yeah. It's almost like learning a different language, right? Immersion is the best way to do it. And if you do that, which is what we offer and provide, like if you take advantage of that, it's to the moon, where you're smashing all-time records, in your 3rd month, which you were also out for 2 weeks on vacation.
Yeah, we forgot about that part. I was gone. Yeah. I was like boondocks of Maine, no cell service, gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Off grid.
It's an incredible story, and like, you're just at the beginning of it too. You wrapped up your 3rd month, right? So you're still at the beginning of your story, which is still just amazing. Just amazing. What was the hardest part about doing this? Or what was your main fear about it?
Oh, my main fear is that I would fail. I mean, that's my fear with everything I do, that I'm going to fail, right? And so what does failure look like with this model? That looks like going back to what I did before. So that worked okay. Like, it was all right. I'm not going to lie, the grind was really getting to me. It's just because we're always chasing a number. That's how I felt. That's how it came off for me. And like you said, Scott, like, we've been successful. Like, we made it through COVID very, very well. I still have 150 plus members. Like, we are a successful gym in the scheme of gyms. But that takes grind, and that's okay. That should, in a way, that should how it should be. But after 6-7 years of checking everything every single day, trying to stay on top, or play catch up, because like we've talked about, life happens and people will leave your gym. And so you got to get the same amount just to stay the same.
Yep.
Much less grow. And looking at what I want for my kids and my home and everything like that, like, I was just walking into a wall. So something drastic had to change, and I kept trying to figure that out on my own, and with help and PT, and do all this stuff. And we inched up, we inched in like a year and a half or so. But my biggest fear is that it would fail. And so the bottom line is, if it fails, what's that worst case scenario? Well, I just go back to what I've done. God, I know.
Yeah. That's a bold move, and thankfully you made it. And it's like, you are somebody who keeps continuing to try to get better. You keep up with your education. You have worked with various coaches and mentors to learn things in the business, and you kind of experienced what we did for the longest time, is that you kept putting so much effort into getting better and doing things better and learning more on the business side and the operation side and this side and that side and the marketing side, and you name it. And yeah, you're making some progress, but it's like just very small increments. And there's that ceiling that you just get stuck at. where no matter how hard you work, you just can't break through it. And that's where we're at with every single one of our gyms.
Yeah.
Every single one. And we just couldn't do it until we made the big leap into this too. And then it was game over from there. So
you said something very, very interesting, Shenanigans, that I'm interested here. I had a light, but you said you were chasing the numbers, right?
Yeah, right.
What are you chasing now?
Yeah, so I'm laughing because I just had this conversation with my general manager and my sales manager today too. I just want to work with the people that want to make change and that are ready to make the change, because they're the ones that like give my soul fire, right? And they're the ones that I can actually help. And so I get to do that much better now. Like, I don't care if my group class kind of drops off a little bit, because some of those group class people may not be in line with what my core value system is, right? And I might know that, and I might have known that when I signed them up. But I was desperate for that keep stability, equilibrium, or inch a little higher up. So I don't need to make 20 sales this month. I don't need to make 10 sales this month. I can make 4 to 5 sales a month and work with people that not only feed my soul, but feed my staff soul. Like my head coach came to me last week and she's like, this has been a game changer for us. And she was skeptical as hell. Dave can tell you. He was on a call with my staff and they looked at him like, you're crazy, dude. And he was like, does your staff ever smile? Like, what's the deal? Like, they're just skeptical, and I get it. Yeah. But like, she's working with clients now that show up on time, that work hard, that are grateful to see her, and that are talking about how much their life is improving. And she's like, they're amazing. Like, where did you find these people? Like, they came to us, and I just talked to them. So I'm just chasing the ability to help people now. Because when I sit down with someone and I have that in-depth conversation now, I know that I can help them. It's just, are they going to let me help them?
That's awesome. And that's awesome. And that's a lot of what we're talking about in our mastermind, right? Is like, this has allowed you to find and live your soul purpose, right? Your SOUL purpose, where you're getting to do what you want and have the impact on the world that you want to have, and not just desperately try to sign everybody up because you need to, because you need to hit 10 sales to prevent from sliding backwards this month. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's awesome. I'm grateful for you guys. Like, it has been, I think I texted you all one time, like, it's made me like remember how much I love to coach and why. Because when I got into this industry 15 years ago, like, this is the stuff I got into it for. Like, I love to work out. I've worked out my whole life, made sense, got my bachelor's, etc. But like, I got in it because I was transformed by things, and fitness and health was a part of that. And I wanted to help people have transformational experiences. And this program has now helped me do that. Really, like, allowed me to do that.
It's awesome. Awesome. Awesome to hear. And Dave, anything to add? It's just an amazing story, Shannon.
It's funny with Shenanigans, like, we know each other so well. If I ask a question, I already know what she's gonna say. Like, I bet I'm like, what is she chasing? It's gonna be helping people, and that's what it is. And what I told you, the Shenanigans out of the gate, you'll close 7 to 8 out of those 10 people if you go into the conversations with that mindset. And it's the mindset of you don't care if they sign up or not. It's just the only thing you're doing is you're taking them to that point and ask them to make a decision. So it's just powerful. It's powerful. We're proud of you.
Who knew that you could have an intro sale conversation, not make the sale, have the person walk out and feel more fulfilled than if you had made the sale your old way?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you recently put that in the group. You messaged that like you closed whatever, like 2 out of 3 that, or 3 out of 4. I can't remember. 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 that day. And the other one, you basically just kind of not cut it, but like you just like, you could tell it wasn't somebody you wanted to work with and it would be get fit for. And you felt so empowered by being able to know that you don't want to work with this person. That's okay. Not feeling that desperation, like you've got to sign everybody up that's in front of you.
Right.
It's so empowering.
You get some breath. You can breathe a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, amazing journey. Thank you so much, Shannon. Like, you're unbelievable. What you've done so far in such a short amount of time is just, people won't believe it until they see this.
You guys gave me the tools. You supply everything that we need. So if we show up and put the work in and have our heart in the right place, everything else will work out the way it's supposed to.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And before we go, we like to ask everybody that we talk to is like, what would you say to someone that's on the fence about starting with PT Legends or learning more about it at least?
Make the call, pick up the phone, book the appointment, do it today. It will give you freedom. It'll give you a sense of purpose. I do not see a downside.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Shannon.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see you on our group Zoom tomorrow. So
sounds like a plan.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one, guys.
See you guys.
Dave and myself, Scott, would love to thank you for tuning in and listening to the PT Legends podcast. You can get direct access to us by joining our free Facebook group. Go to www.facebook.com/groups/7-figure personal trainer. That's 7-figure personal trainer with the number 7. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you can keep on learning and keep on living. Finally, if you picked up any tips whatsoever in this episode that you found helpful, be sure to leave us a review and tell us what you like best about it. Can't wait to see you on the next episode.